Millions of years ago, before the rise of humankind, the Earth was dominated by magnificent and fearsome creatures. The dinosaurs. They ruled the land, sea and sky for over 160 million years, adapting to various climates and environments. Yet, in a blink of geological time, this incredible dynasty came to an abrupt and catastrophic end. This is the story of their final day, a tale of survival, chaos, and the cataclysm that reshaped the course of life on Earth forever. What did these last hours look like? What happened to these giants who once seemed invincible? Let's step back in time, 66 million years ago, to witness the last day of the dinosaurs. The sun crested the horizon, painting the Cretaceous world with a warm golden light that danced across dense forests, expansive plains, and volcanic peaks spewing thin plumes of smoke. It was a day like any other in a world teeming with life. The air buzzed with the calls of ancient insects while pterosaurs glided overhead, their shadows fleeting over the landscape. In the shadow of towering ferns, a family of triceratops grazed, oblivious to the danger lurking in the unseen corners of their world. The adults used their strong beaks to strip leaves from cycads, while smaller, younger ones playfully nudged each other, mimicking their elders. The herd moved slowly, wary of predators but confident in their numbers. Nearby, a lone Tyrannosaurus rex watched from the edge of the forest. Its keen eyes tracked the herd's movements, calculating, deciding which member of the group would make the easiest target. It was an apex predator, the undisputed king of its territory. Muscles rippled beneath its scaly skin as it took a cautious step forward, its massive foot pressing into the damp earth. The ground trembled slightly with each step, but the Triceratops remained unaware of their stalker, focused on their morning feast. Life on Earth had reached its peak. Dinosaurs of every size and shape filled every ecological niche. In the rivers, massive reptiles swam alongside ancient fish, their elongated bodies cutting through the water with ease. In the forests, small raptors darted between trees, chasing after tiny mammals that skidded underfoot. High above, the sky was filled with the silhouettes of soaring pterosaurs, their wingspans casting fleeting shadows over the land below. It was a world full of vibrant life, from the tiniest insect to the largest sauropod that towered over the treetops. But far away, far beyond the gaze of any creature, an intruder was on its way. Hurtling through the cold, silent void of space, a massive asteroid, more than 6 miles wide, was on a collision course with Earth. For millions of years, it had drifted through the cosmos, but today was different. Its trajectory was set, and there was no escaping the inevitable impact. This was no ordinary celestial object. It was a harbinger of death, a cosmic bullet aimed directly at the heart of the dinosaur kingdom. Unbeknownst to every living creature below, their world was about to change forever in ways they could never imagine. The hours ticked by, and as the sun reached its zenith, the first sign of impending doom began to manifest. A strange light appeared in the sky, a blazing streak moving faster than any bird, faster than any cloud. It burned brighter than the sun, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. The ground-dwelling dinosaurs looked up, confused by the sudden brightness, the unfamiliar object tearing across the blue sky. Small mammals scurried into burrows, birds took flight in a panicked flurry, and the larger dinosaurs, though puzzled, continued their daily routines, unaware that the sky itself had become a weapon. Then, in an instant, the asteroid struck. It collided with the Earth near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, creating an explosion so powerful that the very air seemed to shatter. The impact unleashed a blast with the force of billions of nuclear bombs, vaporizing rock, boiling the ocean, and sending a towering column of debris shooting miles into the atmosphere. The ground beneath the dinosaurs shook violently, as if the Earth itself had been struck by a giant's hammer. Dinosaurs fell where they stood, knocked to the ground by the sheer force of the tremors. Trees were uprooted, their ancient roots ripped from the soil, and boulders tumbled down mountainsides like marbles. The shockwave raced outward at the speed of sound, a wall of force that flattened everything in its path. It swept across the landscape, tearing apart forests, throwing massive boulders into the air, and sending dinosaurs flying like leaves in a hurricane. The blast was followed by a deafening roar, a sound so loud that it seemed to come from every direction at once. Birds fell from the sky, their eardrums burst by the pressure. Even the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex, the fiercest predator to ever walk the earth, was momentarily stunned, its massive frame knocked sideways by the force of the impact. The world was plunged into chaos. The heat from the impact ignited wildfires that spread rapidly across the land. The sky darkened as the ash and soot filled the atmosphere, blocking out the sun. The once bright, thriving landscape was now covered in a thick, choking haze. The air was filled with the acrid smell of smoke and burning vegetation, a scent that clung to the scales of the dinosaurs and filled their lungs. Entire herds of herbivores scattered, their instincts overwhelmed by the unfamiliar sounds and sights. Predators abandoned their hunts, driven mad by the noise, the heat, and the unrelenting tremors that rippled through the earth. In the seas, the water itself was in turmoil. The impact had sent shockwaves through the ocean, creating tsunamis hundreds of feet high. These colossal waves raced across the surface, crashing against coastlines with unrelenting force. Marine reptiles, once the dominant hunters of the sea, were tossed about like driftwood. Coral reefs, which had thrived for millennia, were obliterated in seconds. Their vibrant colours turned to lifeless rubble. And then came the darkness. As the fires burned out and the immediate chaos subsided, the true extent of the disaster became clear. The dust and debris thrown into the atmosphere by the impact created a thick, dark veil that blocked out the sun's light. Temperatures plummeted, and a cold, eerie twilight descended upon the earth. Plants, deprived of sunlight, began to wither and die. The herbivores, already weakened by the lack of food, began to starve. With no herbivores left to hunt, the mighty carnivores soon followed, their once powerful roars replaced by the silence of a dying world. It was a mass extinction unlike any the Earth had ever seen. In the span of mere days, the mighty dinosaurs who had ruled the land for millions of years were gone. Only the smallest, most adaptable creatures survived. Tiny mammals, no bigger than a rat, huddled together in underground burrows, eking out a meagre existence on whatever scraps of food they could find. Birds, descendants of small feathered dinosaurs, managed to survive by taking refuge in places untouched by the fires. Slowly, over weeks and months, the dust in the atmosphere began to settle. The sun's light returned, weak at first, but gradually growing stronger. The world was a shadow of its former self, a barren, charred landscape. But even in the ashes of destruction, there was hope. Tiny plants began to sprout, their green shoots pushing through the blackened soil. The surviving animals emerged, blinking in the sunlight, and began the long, slow process of rebuilding their world. The age of the dinosaurs had ended, but the story of life was far from over. The mammals, once small and insignificant, began to thrive in the new environment. Freed from the dominance of the giant reptiles, they evolved rapidly, adapting to fill the empty niches left behind. In time, they would give rise to new and incredible forms of life, including primates and eventually the first humans. The extinction of the dinosaurs was a turning point in the history of life on Earth. It was a cataclysm that ended one era but paved the way for another, shaping the course of evolution in ways that are still felt today. The legacy of the dinosaurs lives on in the fossils they left behind, a silent testament to their once great kingdom and the day it all came to an end.